Okay,
Hello,
guys.
everyone.
Hi, welcome to the Intellectual Disabilities Podcast. This is your host, Mackenzie Lampkins.
And your other host, Sarah Parker. And today we are with a very special guest named Dalton Readdy, who is a Special Olympics Florida athlete leader as well as an employee at a grocery store chain.
Hello.
Hi, Dalton. It's so good to have you with us. Okay, but before we get started, do I have your consent to record this interview for the podcast and to post that podcast online?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Let's get things started.
What is your name, Dalton?
My full name is Dalton Readdy.
Okay. And I have a question. How do you connect with people with intellectual disabilities?
I connect with people with intellectual disabilities by joining organizations like Special Olympics, and then I joined Athlete Leadership.
Okay. Can you give me kind of the progress or the journey of what started you with these organizations?
The progress is what started my journey. These organizations is my parents thought that it would be good for me, and they encouraged me to try it out. So originally, back in 2019, I started playing golf. And then 2021, I tried bowling. And then 2023, I tried tennis. So I have now done multiple sports. And then we found out about athlete leadership. And I was like really interested in signing up. And signed up, applied to become a spokesperson for Special Olympics as well.
That's
Okay.
awesome. Do you have a disability?
Yes, I am on the autism spectrum disorder.
Wonderful. How can people understand people with intellectual disabilities?
Either if they have a family member that has people with as an intellectual disability, or whether they like work with them.
So there are
Okay.
multiple different ways. So, like, how is there any like lesson material or anything like that can help teach people with intellectual disabilities?
Yes, ma'am. Or just finding out what it's about and all that.
Wonderful.
Right. Okay, so I have a couple of questions about the organizations. Now, our global goal is about reducing inequalities and having people be exclusive, like companies, corporations, people, individuals. Have you ever been mistreated or have like a story about any of the organizations that you join?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I have had a couple of instances. Well, the first time was I went to this transition program, and the mentor I had was not a good fit for me at all. Like, she promised me she was going to be at this event and then lied to me about it and didn't show up. And then also my previous organization before athlete leadership, I was there with my ex-girlfriend and the other friends in the group. Like, they seemed nice at first, but then they kind of revealed their true colors. Then me and her broke up, and then they ganged up on me. I think they were just trying to use me and take advantage of me.
So you would definitely say that it was the communication, people, the lack of communication that they had with you.
Yes.
How did your girlfriend and ex-girlfriend, I should say, and ex-friend group took advantage of you?
Well, they were just being fake, and like some of the things, like they wouldn't even try to talk to me about stuff in person. It was all done over a text, or they would act weird around me at events, like completely ignore me, or say like, and I would ask what's going on. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm not so sure. I can't remember."
Okay, would you say that people even in the disability community would benefit from, learning communication and learning to be kind to one another?
I think so.
Was
What would
there
you
any
like to see?
structural issues within the organization itself?
Yes, I think there was very structural issues in the organization. wasn't organized, and like the program manager of the organization she wasn't even mutual with everyone. She just had favorites. There was a lot of favoritism and a lot of clickiness.
Now,
That
did you bring that to any like higher ups? Did she have somebody in a higher position than her that you could have spoke to? Or what do you wish you would have done different?
I wish I would have just brought it to like the higher ups or all that. Like, I even tried to talk to the program manager and all that, but she took their side and saying that I was the issue and I needed to seek therapy, and gave all the others the free slip saying they didn't do anything wrong.
So you were singled out.
Yes, I was singled out.
Now, do you ever like, can you ever go back in the time of your life where you felt like that, maybe in like elementary school, middle school, high school?
I know elementary school, we always told the principal, like, teach about kids with special needs, and they refused. All they taught about was like cancer and all that stuff.
And where did you grow up at?
I grew up here in Valrico, Florida.
Okay. And did you have anybody advocating for you? Because as a child, it's very hard for you to articulate your needs sometimes, as in any child. Did you have a mentor? Did your parents, a teacher, a coach? Did anybody stick up for your needs?
My mom and dad tried to tell the principal at my elementary school, like, to teach about kids with special needs. Like, they told her many, 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 many times, and she just refused. But like some of the kids in my personal classroom, not outside my class, were nice to me at least.
Okay, that's good.
Did you
Were
have an
you
IEP?
Yes, I did. Like,
Did,
one thing about me, like I always needed extra time on testing and all that, and needed very specific instructions.
okay,
And I know in elementary school I did have my own aide.
nice. Now, can you talk a little bit about your aid and some of the benefits you received from having an aid?
I had the benefits. I had the aide help me like get my stuff together and my homework, and made sure I had all my belongings when I left school.
Okay.
But
Wonderful.
unfortunately, by the time I entered fifth grade, the county was quote unquote too afraid that I would get too dependent on the aid. I think they were full of it.
Also, you think that an aid would have been helpful even in middle school?
Yes.
Wow, okay,
And that's the thing. I think some people are just all about the money.
okay.
That's why they were coming up with that excuse, saying that I would be too dependent on the aid. But then by the time I got into high school, like, I chose to be in the resource classes, like the ESE classes, because it was a smaller class and there was less kids in there. And I just felt like the bigger classes would be too much of a distraction for me.
Okay, so you thrive in smaller groups.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Because And that's the thing, like, I always did my work, like, I was never a behavior problem in school, but that was the thing. It's just I got distracted real easily.
Do you have sensory issues with like sounds and lights and things like that?
Yes, I do. Like at school they did pepper rallies and it was just too loud for me, so I never went.
Okay. Next, we're going to talk about a little bit more recent times about a certain organization. How have you became an athlete leader for Special Olympics?
Well, the funny thing is, because the incident I had with my ex-girlfriend, the other friends in the group, when they ganged up on me, like, that they caused me to leave that organization. I figured, hey, I've been doing a couple of sports with Special Olympics. Me and my mom went to the Rays game for Special Olympics, and Savannah Rock was the communications director at the time. And we talked because someone told us about athlete leadership and about becoming a spokesperson. So we talked to her about it. So then I joined athlete leadership, started coming to a couple events. It was a culture shock when I came. It's like compared to my previous organization, like No one was like talking bad about one another, and everyone was supportive of each other.
Wow. Okay, well then that leads me to my next question. What was your favorite memory in athlete leadership?
Well, my favorite memory of athlete leadership was I went to the training to become a spokesperson because I learned a lot at this training. I met other athletes from all across the state, and they all have the same goal in life as me. And they were just very personable, not stuck up to themselves. And they're the type of people that would lift you up and not tear you down or take advantage.
Wow. So, have you made some connections with people outside of it? Like, oh, you met them in athlete leadership, but outside of Special Olympics, we go, wow, we might go to lunch or we might talk on the phone or go catch a movie.
Yes, of course I have.
That's amazing. Have you have what was another great part of the global messenger training going to the news station? Did you enjoy that part?
Yes, I love that part. Like, because me and the other athletes that were there, we all did really great on our speeches.
Okay, what was your speech about? Can you give a little intel?
Well, my speech about because each athlete leader like has different topics, but mine was about why athletes want to become athlete leaders.
Global Messenger is such a wonderful course for those who are listening to the podcast. Global Messenger is a course of Special Olympics athlete leadership where people like Dalton and I can train to become sports spokespeople for the organization Special Olympics. And it's a weekend long course where we do things such as prepare elevator speech, write a 5 minute speech, and do interview training in a news station. It is such an awesome class. And I encourage anyone who is listening who might be interested, try to talk to your local people in Special Olympics to get involved because it is such an amazing course where people can learn how to be amazing spokespeople and thrive.
I have a question. Were you guys really good speakers before you joined, or did you feel there was a shift in how you spoke in public, your confidence in speaking in front of people afterwards?
I'm always pretty good at it, but I definitely improved and I took the course in 2018. So it was like 6, 7 years ago. No pun intended.
Mhm.
So now I have a chance to grow my skills even further with my courses. And last year in actually this last year in 2025, I actually had a chance to help teach the course, which was awesome and it was such an amazing experience. How did Global Messenger help you, Dalton?
Well, I've always been a good speaker, but same here with me. It helped improve my speaking skills and all that speaking in front of crowds and giving the word out about the organization. And I did my class was last year in 2024 in July.
Oh, wow. So, do you have any tips on what to do when you get nervous before you speak in front of a crowd?
I
Or what
would
do you
say
personally do?
I would say just take a deep breath and relax.
Okay.
And then the other thing too, like how Sarah helped teach the course, I hopefully someday maybe I can get chosen to help teach the course.
You definitely will. I can see it in your future.
I see it in my future too.
Okay. How can Special Olympics Florida make the athlete leadership team better?
It can make the athlete leadership team better by like getting athlete leaders like together statewide. Everyone can like share their stories with each other, like their favorite Special Olympics memory.
Okay, so
Like,
more communication.
yeah, more communication and all that, like, because it's more fun, like when you have everyone statewide getting together and not just each individual area.
Yeah,
Because,
you get different perspectives. I
yeah,
definitely get
different
what you mean.
perspectives.
Yep, and another state or city could do something that you guys have never done, and you guys can probably borrow that from them and vice versa.
Or even a different country too. because it's worldwide.
Yeah, that would be so interesting to learn from other leaders across the country and world to help improve the organization and to improve communication. I agree with you, Dalton. What now we're going to talk about the positives. What do you love about athlete leadership?
What I love about athlete leadership is like a second family to me. And everyone I've met, it's about lifting each other up and not tearing one another down or taking advantage. And there's no clickiness either.
Love
I
that.
agree.
So the inclusion
Yeah,
within the organization is the number one because I know that you guys' objective is to teach that to everybody in the globe to not be exclusive. So the fact that you guys have a strong foundation is amazing.
the next question I have for you is how can others get involved with Special Olympics Florida and athlete leadership?
Either they could, there's many ways, many ways. Either A, they can go on the website, or B, they can talk to the person in charge, like for their area that they're in.
Okay.
Do you know some of the roles that people can sign up to do for our listeners at home?
For athlete leadership, for Special Olympics athlete leadership, like they can either be like an athlete leader, they could be community leader, they can apply to become like a health messenger, global messenger, which is a spokesperson, or they can join athlete leadership council that me and you are both in.
Yeah, and there's also many different ways for people to be involved if they do not have an intellectual disability. You can become a mentor who helps guide the athlete leaders. You can become a coach, a volunteer for a while, or even day of volunteers where you just go to an event and volunteer if you do not want to commit to a long-term event. And you can also become a mentor even for athlete leaders. Or if you even love playing sports, you can become a unified partner and actually play on a sports team for people with intellectual disabilities, which is awesome. If you would
That
like
is
more
amazing.
inform if you would like more information about Special Olympics Florida, I will leave the link to the website in the description of this podcast and you can click right on it and go there.
That's really amazing. That means I can even, become a mentor or I can persuade some of my friends or family members to join in and help the cause, which I love.
Absolutely.
Okay, Dalton, so we want to talk a little bit about your work life, if that's okay with you, because
Yes,
again, one of our main goals is the inclusion of people with, intellectual disabilities in the workforce. So can you kind of tell us about how you got your job at the grocery store? How did you hear about it? And, basically the progress. How did you get hired, the training?
well, 7 years ago, at the time, I went into Publix. I talked to the store manager that was there at the time, and he interviewed me, and he just automatically gave me the job right away. I started out bagging groceries, but then later, a couple of years later on, I moved over to produce, and I've been in produce ever since.
Okay, nice.
What do you enjoy about doing produce? What is kind of like your responsibilities doing the produce?
Well, this is what I do. I usually work the cold items out. I put the cold items out and I level and block the department, like the cooler and then the centers they have there.
Nice. Has your job been accommodating to your needs as someone with autism?
Yes, man, they sure have. Like the produce and the assistant produce manager and the full timer that's there, they would have the floats loaded up for me. I would work the float and then they would put all the stuff back for me when I'm done.
Okay. Could you go in a little bit more detail about how they have accommodated you and your needs? Because I know the listeners would love to hear your stories.
Yes, ma'am. Like when I get there, I look at the schedule, they have my name where it's written on my name. They would write all the tasks for me that I need to get done so I know specifically what to do and all that. And if I'm not sure where an item goes, if there's no tag for it, I ask either my produce or assistant produce manager if this goes out or not or where it goes out.
Okay. Now, now that we heard about how they have accommodated you, I have a question. Have you had any misunderstandings at your job or with the boss? Um, can you share that with us?
Yes, ma'am. Well, there was a misunderstanding I had this past April. Like there was an incident that happened. It wasn't done out of malicious intent because I had to use the restroom and it was an emergency situation. So I kind of got in trouble with the store manager, but he didn't even ask to see whether it was true or not. It was automatically assumed that I was guilty, and it was already written up by the time we got in.
Well, can you give details? So you went to go use the restroom.
Yeah, I mean, I knocked. It was an emergency situation. I knocked on the door. I didn't know anyone was in there because no one said they were in there, and so I peeked over the stall. And then the person who was in there reported me and all that. Because I got in, so the store manager wrote me up for it, and we told him it was an emergency situation and it wasn't done out of malicious intent.
Did you ever have bosses who think they were approachable with people with special needs, but they were really not?
Yes, yeah. This because the store manager, we asked him, "Do you not get special needs?" In which he does not get special needs. He's like, "Oh, maybe a little bit. My wife used to work with autistic kids."
Just because your wife worked with autistic kids doesn't mean you are approachable. Is there
Exactly.
any ways that you think that he can become more approachable and how with people with special needs, and how can he go about that?
Like he could at least learn how to interact with them and know how to handle situations appropriately. And like especially with the situation, not it was an emergency situation, like because I now know not to do it and all that. So like because when someone has special needs, it's like and when they do something like that, it's like you kind of just you don't have to write them up for it. You kind of just have to tell them and then they just won't do it anymore. Where it's like it was a learning experience and he did not have to write me up for it. And the other thing too, like he didn't even ask first. He was automatically assumed that I was guilty. And he read me this code of conduct thing that was like 12 pages long and he read it really fast. And then the produce and assistant produce manager who were there at the time, like they had no idea and they each felt like at least one of them should have been there. And they felt like it wasn't handled appropriately because they know me and they know my personality as to where the store manager does not. So like, and then in August, we contacted a district manager about it. Well, we've known this guy for many years, even when he was a store manager. So he called the store manager at my store. They had a nice little conversation. And that's when he came to my mom saying, "You can come talk to me anytime you like. I'm very approachable."
Oh, good. I'm glad that somebody heard you and listened to you and actually took the proper protocol to defend you.
Yes. And plus the produce and assistant produce manager who were there at the time each felt like at least one of them should have been there and they even had my back too. And they don't feel like that the store manager gets special needs either.
Okay. Well, I think that this is all we have today, folks.
Is
Thank you so
what I
much.
have one more question. Is there anything you would like to share with us? Anything else you would like to share with us?
Yes, ma'am. Another thing that I want to tell everyone, one thing I learned is like last year in this past January, I got a phone number from a customer because I thought he was a cool guy. Like he has his biker gear and his helmet. He drives a gas bike everywhere. Like I thought he was a cool guy, so I got his phone number. I texted him a YouTube video. I thought he would like it. And he said, any more mention of the internet will delete our friendship and you will be deleted. And that shows you right there, not everyone's a good person. And I have a coworker that works with me who stuck up for me. He said he sort of dislikes the guy now because he was kind of mean to me.
Okay. So
Any
you
last
about
words and advice for people with special needs?
Um, like my word of advice, people with special needs is like, try to educate others about the disability community to reduce inequalities, but beware of people that are ignorant.
okay, and would you give one piece of advice to younger people who are dealing with disabilities? If you could say one thing to them, what would you say?
I would say, like just look up stuff or find out like how to interact with them or how to approach them, or find the proper resources.
Okay, good advice. Well, it's time to wrap the podcast up. I am so glad that we were able to talk to you today, Dalton. This was an amazing interview. I really think that you gave us some insight. So, logging out with Mackenzie Lampkins.
And Sarah Parker.
And Dalton
Thank you,
Readdy.
Dalton.
No problem. Bye bye.
Bye.